Hi, welcome to episode 235 of Fresh Air at 5. In this episode, we're going to dig into some AI things. I'm going to talk about an experience I had being able to speak about AI in an independent school here in town. And we're going to, hear about the nature of AI and how we need to talk to our students about that. We need to do all these things bravely and step out bravely because we have something to offer those around us. All right, without further ado, episode 235 of Fresh Air at 5.
Hi, I'm Steve Miletto from the Teaching, Learning, Leading K-12 podcast, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to Fresh Air at 5, the podcast. I'm your host, Brian Carpenter, coming to you every week from Abbotsford, which is about 45 minutes east of Vancouver, British Columbia, on the west coast of Canada. Fresh Air at 5 is my regular attempt to get some fresh air by walking about my neighborhood, which is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Stolo people, the Simath First Nation and Mathwee First Nation. I consume podcast content while I walk, then reflect on this content in an unedited video, which I post on my X, formerly known as Twitter, channel every day. This podcast is the collection of the audio taken from those daily selfie videos over the course of a week, Monday to Friday. So let's jump into my listening and learning this past week. Hey PLN, it's October 13, 2025, Thanksgiving Day here in Canada, and it is also my birthday, and so I turned double fives today. I can't believe it. Man, where did the time go? And am I getting older? I think I am, but I'm still feeling young and feeling energetic, and I'm thankful for a lot of things in my life. Family, friends, food, fishing, my education, my career, my profession as a teacher, my kids, my students at school. There's so much to be thankful for, and I am very, very grateful. All right, as I'm ending my day after I was supposed to go fishing this morning, but the wind was blowing really hard and we were supposed to go out on the river, decided to not go fishing. So stayed home, and then we did the brakes on the Pathfinder, my buddy Ryan and I, who I was supposed to fish with. So we pivoted and overcame an obstacle with a task that we overcame. And then we had Thanksgiving dinner with them. Today. It was fantastic. What's this got to do with what I'm talking about right now and listening to? I listened to episode 6 of season 3 of the Smile Factor podcast with Lori Guion and Matthew X. Joseph. And they bring us an episode called Overcoming Obstacles and Moving Forward. And they talked about challenges they've had in their spaces. And what do they do about it? How do you move forward? How do you keep on moving? And, I'm thankful for the leadership skills that I've learned over the years about just keeping your eyes on what your overall is and solving the problems along the way to be able to move forward. How do we do that? We stay calm as the leaders. We think about the problem. We reach out and ask for help to those that can help us. And we say, I don't know, when I don't know. The smile factors for Lori and Matthew had to do with staying calm, had to do with staying calm and just being a confident, calm presence. Even if you don't know the answer, not freaking out is really, really important. Like last week, we talked to, on Teach Happier, Suzanne Daly talked to us about being a flight attendant and how important that is, that we have that calm presence, but yet capable of solving problems when people have them. All right, that's all I got for this evening. Have a happy rest of your day. I'm going to, and opportunities are coming my way to do some sharing about AI and all things. Okay, bye. The last thing for October 13, 2025. Wrapping up my walk this evening. It's been a beautiful evening. The wind is still blowing, but I'm going to go home and, drink some warm water or tea or something like that, and then go to bed early as I have a full day tomorrow. I listened to season 6, episode 5 of Teach Happier with Suzanne Daly, as she brings us some wisdom today for you to consider and me to consider. And it talks about a thought that she had read recently in a new book called Radical Listening by two doctors that I don't know if they're actual doctors, but they've got their PhDs in something that makes them really smart. And they talk about radical listening and what it takes to be a radical listener, and how can we engage the people around us in their communication for the sake of connection by quietening ourselves and being that skill of quietening in a conversation, and how we just take time to listen to others. Builds connection, builds deep relationships if we can do that, and it takes time to do that. You can't just rush at quieting and have someone just spill their guts out, but you have to spend the time over time in order to get to that place of quieting. And how can that go? All right, Suzanne, I appreciate your thoughts, appreciate the challenge, and appreciate what is going on with, making us better people. And over the time I have listened, I have become a better person because of Teach Happier and the impact that Suzanne's podcast has had on me. Others have made a difference for me as well. So I want to thank you to all my podcasts that I listen to for keeping doing what you're doing so that I can grow here and share my thoughts on Fresh Air at 5. All right, talk to you later. Okay, good night. Bye. Hey, PLN, it is October 15, 2025, and I forced myself to step outside to get some fresh air this morning. I looked at my watch, and it said it was 5 degrees Celsius, and the wind was blowing a little bit. I was like, I don't want to go. So I didn't. And I sat down, and I listened to an episode of Teachers on Fire that recently dropped, and stayed inside. But then I'm like, nope, don't be a wimp, Brian. And so I put my toque on, and I walked up and down my street, which is about a little under half a kilometer, and get some fresh air into my lungs. I think that's a great start for my day, and part of my regular routine of things that I do. All right, this morning as I sat on the couch and listened to Teachers on Fire, I was listening to the recent episode that Tim dropped as he talked to, I think it was, hang on, I'll be right back. Tim was talking to Liz Prather about her writing career and about being a writer and how that affects her life. She recently released on Substack, and Tim, need to get onto Substack and figure out what this is, because I'm not there, and not being a writer, I don't see how I can contribute other than being a consumer. So I'm gonna have to check this out, because there's a lot of good writing I'm hearing on Substack. Liz talks about 5 rituals that every teacher needs so that they can have a productive and healthy teaching career. One is to arrive early, get to school early so that you're not feeling that last minute rush. Another is leaving an hour after the bell only, and not any later than that, so that you can have work-life balance. Another is to stay organized in your classroom. That's really important. Another is to take 5 minutes for yourself for writing. Why do you need to write? Because it's a human expression. And in our age of AI, I think it's so important that we keep these human things that we do, writing and being creative and productive, that we are not outsourcing to artificial intelligence. So very important. And then the last thing, I can't exactly remember, but it's in there. And so thank you, Liz and Tim, for sharing these 5 rituals that we need to have. Interesting, as Liz was talking about how we outsource our humanness There was a Gemini commercial during the Olympics, and I actually saw that commercial yesterday when I was at a Pro D session about how we outsource our humanness to artificial intelligence to get it done when we don't think that we can do it, because we can. We can do a lot of things. All right, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. Not saying I'm against AI. I'm coming right back with some comments about some stuff that I just did yesterday. Okay, bye. The last thing for October 15, 2025. I was privileged yesterday to be part of a professional day of learning for the Abbotsford Christian School staff from K to grade 12, as they had a day of artificial intelligence learning. And I was invited to be a breakout session presenter and to present my thoughts about a certain aspect of artificial intelligence engagement in our space. I talked about student-facing opportunities, not specifically exactly apps that they could use, but how can we have AI policies in our classroom so that students can know what our expectations are around artificial intelligence. Until we tell them what our expectations are, they're only guessing. So that was a big part of what I talked about. It was very exciting to see the teachers enthusiastic about learning about artificial intelligence. Many of them have dabbled and tried to figure some stuff out, but having that policy in hand is important so that they can know what they need to do and how to do it well. I put together my first presentation in better part of, probably 7 or 8 months, probably longer than that. I haven't presented in a while. So it was really nice to get back into the presentation mode and stand in front of a room and share the things that I have learned. It seems like it's every day for me, but when you are, further down the road than another group of people, that is something to say. I had 25 minutes to talk. I could have talked for an hour or even 3 hours about the topics that I was talking about. But that's what we have. And so I have another presentation that I can share. And so another thing to add to my repertoire other than Adobe Express. All right. That's all I've got. Thanks so much. Hope you're doing well. And thank you, Abbotsford Christian, for having me. It was a pleasure to share alongside the other fantastic presenters that were there. Okay. Take care. Bye. Hey, PLN, it is Thursday, October 16, 2025, later in the day. And this morning I slept in, so I didn't get out for my walk. And now it's later in the evening, and I'm just covering up my boat because we're supposed to get some rain here with the boat cover. Anyhow, as I was doing that, I listened to the Creative Classroom with John Spencer. And John brings us an episode called Students Should Understand and Learn About the Nature of AI. And as we are going through this week, I had the privilege of talking with the Abbotsford Christian School recently. Shout out to them for them digging into what AI is going about in their school and how they can leverage it and understand it so that they can be effective educators there. John, I appreciate your thoughts as you share about students need to learn about the nature of AI. It is important and imperative that we as educators do expose them to understanding what AI is and is not. It is not a feeling, understanding, being. It is an algorithm that is programmed to mimic what we do as humans so very well. It's important that we talk to them about, how it can make the next best guess and isn't actually their friend. There's, chat bots that, can seem like they are the students' friends and even my friend, but they don't care the same way that my real friend does. And so it's important that we take a look at this. Take a listen to what John says. He talks about the Eliza effect. He talks about these chatbots that have been around for a long time, and the fact that AI is not necessarily a revolution, but it is an evolution, and it has been going on for a number of years. It's just the advent of ChatGPT in November 2023 that really caught our attention, but it's been on its way, and it's here now. And how do we teach our students about it? Imperative that we do that as educators. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Take care. Okay, bye. Hey, PLN, it's October 17, 2025. Happy Friday to you. Hope this finds you well. This week has been a full and rich week. A lot of activity going on for me. If you've listened this week, that's great. If you haven't, listen to the podcast and catch up with where I've been since Thanksgiving here in Canada. All right, this morning I listened, I think it's episode 82 of SEL in Education with Dr. Krista Lay. And this is a reunion episode with her former co-host, Craig Aarons Martins. And he is, stepped out of the podcast, and he is going and doing Brave Voices in Education work. And he's been out talking and speaking. He's been in his classroom. He's been leading initiatives about, queer educators and how to support our queer students, our LGBTQ students in their space here in education. And it's so important that we, come around all of our students. And he's doing work in that space right now. This episode is entitled, What the Mountain Teaches and the Valley Proves, Brave Voices with Craig Aarons Martins. And he's got a book that he just dropped that recently, Brave Voices for LGBTQ Students, I believe it's called, or something very similar. You can look it up on Barnes & Noble or on Amazon, probably, and find it. Look for Craig Aarons Martins and his new book. And he also has a podcast, Brave Voices in Education. And thank you, Craig and Krista, for sharing your thoughts today. I'm taking away from this that we have something to offer the world. And I've been in education now, coming up to almost to end of 17 or 18, I can't remember exactly. 17 years, finishing 17 years right now. And it's interesting that, as you go through your work as an educator, that you have an opportunity to share yourself with others. And then that opportunity grows a little bit bigger than your classroom. And then it grows a little bit bigger than your building. And it explodes out into the world. And, with us having our podcast, this is one venue that we can share who we are. There's another space where, we have learned a lot of things from books and things like that, and we get to do presentations. And this past week was one of those moments. It's because of a relationship that I got to go and talk about artificial intelligence at an independent school here in my city, here in Abbotsford. And I'm thankful for that relationship that I've got, and now the new relationships that I've got because of that. All right, remember, you have something to offer people around you, and we have to step out and do it bravely. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Krista. Have a fabulous day. And thanks for the bumper shout out at the beginning of your podcast. Bye.
I appreciate you giving me a listen as I've created this podcast experience for you. It's like a unique Blinkist or Coles Notes version of the content I take in, like a highlight reel, so that you can hopefully find some other interesting podcasts you may not have considered before. I've recorded the specific episode podcast titles and episode numbers in the show notes, which are only a click or swipe away for your learning convenience. I've also started to put together a Spotify playlist of each of the episodes so that you can also take a listen to those specifically, and the link to that playlist is in the show notes. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. And if you enjoy this podcast and its format, share it with someone else. You can also follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Brian Carr, BRYONCAR, or at Fresh Air at 5. Tweet about your experience or give it a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Fresh Air at 5 can be found on the Educational Podcast Network. Podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. I hope you have a fantastic day. Get some fresh air before the day is out and take care of yourself because you are worth it.